I realized too late that honesty translated poorly across species. The question came in a quiet moment, beneath the soft hum of the observation deck's gravity field, while a violet nebula spilled like ink across the stars outside. She stood beside me, taller than I was, her silhouette traced in starlight. When she turned and smiled, slow, knowing, and far too perceptive, my translator chimed and delivered her words with ruthless clarity. "You liked my body, didn't you?" I swallowed. "My name is Elias Rowan. I was a cultural liaison for humanity, one of the many soft-skilled, well-meaning civilians sent into the galaxy to prove we were more than our wars. I had been assigned to the Heliarch Exchange Station, a place where treaties were signed, misunderstandings were born, and first impressions became legends. She was Lixara of the Varelian Accord. The Varelians were admired and feared in equal measure. Their bodies were elegant, long-limbed, luminous, patterned with bioluminescent markings that shifted with emotion. Their minds were precise, their culture direct to the point of discomfort. Where humans wrapped meaning in politeness, Varelians asked the question and waited for the truth. Which was why I stood there, frozen, wondering how I had managed to offend or intrigue a woman who could probably read my pulse by watching my skin. "It's not like that," I said carefully, already knowing I was failing. "I mean, maybe it is, but not in the way you're thinking. Or maybe exactly in that way. I'm not sure." Her smile widened. "I appreciate clarity," Lixara said. "But I appreciate sincerity more. We hadn't met under romantic circumstances. Quite the opposite. The first time I saw her, she was bleeding. A diplomatic transport had been sabotaged while docking, sending debris tearing through the station's outer ring. I was part of the emergency response team again, not a hero, just someone who ran toward problems instead of away from them. In a damaged corridor filled with drifting sparks and emergency lights, I found her pinned beneath a collapsed support strut, her bioluminescence flickering erratically. Varelian physiology was not something I'd trained for. But I stabilized her the best I could, speaking calmly, keeping my hand steady. At one point, she reached for my wrist, not in pain, but in focus, and met my eyes. "You are afraid," she observed. "Yes," I said honestly. "But I'm here." That seemed to matter to her. She recovered quickly. Varelians healed fast, especially when cared for promptly. Within days, she was back on duty as a senior envoy, composed, radiant, and watching me with an intensity that made my neck prickle. She requested me as her assigned liaison. Officially, it was because I had demonstrated adaptive empathy under duress. Unofficially, the rumors spread faster than plasma fire. Some said she was studying humans. Others said she was amused by us. A few said she was choosing. I ignored all of it. At least, I tried to. Working with Lixara meant long conversations about art, about conflict, about why humans persisted in believing in second chances. She asked difficult questions without warning. She listened when I answered. And sometimes, when I caught myself staring at the shifting patterns along her arms, she noticed. Varelians noticed everything. Which led us to the observation deck. "You are different from other species," she said, resting her hands on the transparent barrier, watching the nebula. "Most look at us with hunger or fear. You look with curiosity. And something warmer." I rubbed the back of my neck. "Humans are expressive. Sometimes our faces betray us." "Yes," she said. That is why I asked. She turned fully toward me now. The lights caught her markings, soft blues and golds rippling across her skin like a living tapestry. Her eyes, dark, reflective, searched my face. You admired my form, she said. When you thought I could not see. I felt my ears heat. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. Was it disrespect? She asked. No, I admitted. It was appreciation. You're beautiful. But that's not the whole of it. She tilted her head. Explain. So I did. I told her how humans associated bodies with stories, scars as survival, posture as confidence, movement as intention. I told her how beauty, to us, was not just symmetry but presence. How her calm strength, her unflinching honesty, her way of standing like the universe had already agreed with her, that was what drew my eyes. When I finished, I realized I'd been talking for several minutes straight. Lixara was silent. Then she laughed, a soft, chiming sound that resonated in my chest. That, she said, was an answer worthy of the question. She stepped closer. Not touching, Varelians were careful with contact, but near enough that I could feel the warmth radiating from her skin. In my culture, she continued, acknowledging attraction is a declaration of intent. My heart skipped. Intent toward what? Toward understanding, she said. Toward bond. I stared. Bond as in? Yes, she said simply. But not ownership. Not obligation. Choice. The station council did not take kindly to our growing closeness. Interspecies bonds were politically delicate, especially with Varelians, whose alliances carried significant weight. There were hearings. Debates. Warnings issued with careful smiles. Lixara faced them without flinching. He sees me, she told the council. Not as a symbol. Not as a weapon. As a being. And you, a councillor asked. What do you see in him? She looked at me before answering. Endurance without aggression. Honesty without demand. Courage that does not need applause. They could not argue with that. The choice was left to us. Weeks later, on the same observation deck, the nebula now faded to distant stars, she reached for my hand, slowly, deliberately. I felt a faint hum as her markings shifted to warm hues. You smiled earlier, she said. When I asked if you liked my body, I was nervous, I admitted. Are you still? Yes, I said. But I'm also certain. She nodded, satisfied. Good. Certainty is rare. We stood there together, human and Varelian, not bound by treaties or fear, but by something quieter and far more dangerous to the old ways. Mutual choice. And in a galaxy that measured value by power alone, that choice changed everything.